As the sun set over the rolling hills of Oakland, California, Bruce Lee sat cross-legged on the floor of his martial arts school, surrounded by his students. He had just finished a grueling training session, and his body ached with exhaustion, but his mind was still racing, fueled by the endless possibilities of martial arts. JeetKuneDo, he whispered to himself, savoring the phrase he had coined years ago. It meant the way of the intercepting fist, but it was more than just a name. It was a philosophy, a way of life. Lee's thoughts drifted back to his early days as a martial artist. Training under the legendary IP Man in Hong Kong, he had been a scrawny kid, eager to prove himself, but IP Man's teachings had stuck with him. The emphasis on economy of motion, directness, and fluid movement had resonated deep within him. But as he grew older, Lee began to feel constrained by the traditional martial arts systems. They were too rigid, too focused on technique, and too disconnected from real-life fighting. He started to explore other styles, incorporating their techniques and principles into his own practice. The room fell silent as Lee's students gathered around him, sensing that he was about to share another story from his past. He smiled, his eyes twinkling with nostalgia. "I remember training with Wong Jackman, a renowned Wing Chun master," Lee began. "He was a formidable opponent, but I was determined to beat him. I spent hours studying his movements, looking for weaknesses. And then, it hit me, I didn't need to rely on technique alone. I needed to be like water, flowing and adapting to the situation." The students listened, enthralled, as Lee recounted his journey. They had heard the stories before, but they never grew tired of hearing about the evolution of JeetKuneDo. As the night wore on, Lee stood up, his movements fluid and effortless. "Let's train," he said, a mischievous glimmer in his eye. The students scrambled to their feet, ready to face the challenge. The room erupted into a flurry of activity, the sounds of clashing fists and feet filling the air. Lee moved among his students, offering corrections and encouragement. He was no longer just a martial artist, he was a catalyst, igniting a fire within each of them. The training session lasted long into the night, the only sound the pounding of fists on flesh and the heavy breathing of exhausted students. As the last student left, Lee sat back down, a sense of satisfaction etched on his face. JeetKuneDo was more than just a martial art, it was a way of life, a philosophy that would live on long after he was gone. And as he closed his eyes, Lee knew that he had left behind a legacy that would inspire generations to come.